And if you're doing this right, then it means they can focus more on the strategic activities that you talk a lot about. That then puts them in a position where they can focus more on what you describe as data savvy procurement, which I think is an incredibly important area at the moment, and it should be front of mind for large organizations when they're looking at this, because it's all about the data, and there's so much data they can potentially be capturing, or they should be capturing. So in terms of that data savvy procurement, can you just outline your thoughts on that a little bit and just talk about how this helps organizations and what it brings to the table?
Absolutely, and I guess this is the big thing that will differentiate average procurement setups from, let's say, a meaningful advanced procurement setup immediately in 2023 onwards. So everyone talks about data and procurement. I guess everyone is talking about data since 2015, 2016, right? Data is the new oil, etc., etc. But no one talks about how the data is getting used or what you will do with that data once the platform is implemented, etc., etc. So as I said, in 2023 onwards, everyone will have a clear methodology of what kind of leverages I have to reduce the costs. Second, sustainability becomes a really good leverage to have as a differentiator in 2023. Third, all your risks, because the supply chain is still very volatile. We are facing new risks every now and then. It's more frequent now. So how will you do the risk management? So if you start with these three areas to begin with, there are a lot of opportunities available. For example, what's the most susceptible to shipping risk lane you have, for example, from China to, let's say, South Africa, or China to India, etc., etc. Are you able to detect those risks earlier in the process, right? Do you have early shipment alerts? Do you do some sort of a data exchange information with your suppliers? Somehow build this early warning system so that you don't have to rely or respond to the shocks to begin with. Now, these are very conceptual things, but when you try to break it down, when I say risks, what do you mean? So risks could be you running out of the stock. So that means you have to do active inventory management. So you break it down, right? And then when you say active inventory management, you think in terms of what's your cycle time of filling an order rate, what's your average transit time, so on and so forth. Similarly, if your supplier risk is getting high in terms of take example of supply management, which of your suppliers are really dependent upon order inflow from your factory? So if you don't give orders to them, it's likely that your suppliers will run out. Now, why am I talking about this? Is the risk of bankruptcies will increase as you see the recession looms coming into play, right? So again, it becomes part of the risk management. So any data savvy approach would mean compare your suppliers' revenue cash flows with, let's say, the order information or invoicings you have done. And wherever this ratio threshold is high, you should be putting them in active monitoring in place, etc., etc. Other aspects could be if you have a huge demand coming in already, like contracts that are due for renewal, can you prepone them in your next bidding cycle and commit the volume to get the leverage discount, etc., etc. The example that we spoke of earlier. Now, all these things are really, really data dependent, right? And that's what I mean by data savvy procurement. Usually people would rely upon gut in the old setup where they would say, okay, I think this is pulling the number out the air. Let's commit to that. Let's commit to that. But when a data savvy procurement comes into play, I know my specific risks. I know my specific opportunities. Granular, because it's backed by the transactions in my, for example, e-sourcing system or spend analytics system, etc., etc. So I think this is where I've seen most advanced team performing really well. Another example could be the category strategies. So everyone should start preparing category strategies already if they have not done it. So when you see the examples of category strategy, you would see Porter 5 Forces, some sort of really pretty presentations, which never gets really translated into. The highly effective category strategies that I have seen are hardly 1 or 2 pager, which are like list of initiatives and what benefit I'm going to achieve and how will I do it. And the whole exercise behind putting together that 2-pager category strategy, as I said, in terms of risk management, in terms of cost containment, or in terms of the leverage of volumes, is where the whole data analytics comes in. So I've seen category managers working with procurement excellence managers hand in hand, like in one team. And then over a week period, they will finish this 2-pager category strategy document, which is then published globally and then gets tracked every quarter. How many initiatives have I achieved? What are the blockers, etc., etc., etc. So these are the very, very practical examples that I've seen working in a data-driven procurement.